I'm Mike Kim. This is Mary Valoni. Great to meet all of you first timers. We hope it won't be the last. And for all of you who have been with us before, welcome back. It's good to be here. It just feels like family. So here's kind of what we're going to do for today. I'll just set the table. I will be here the entire time. Mary's going to take the lion's share of the training today. We also often trade spots throughout the course of the year. And I will be available to answer any questions, man the chat, and make sure everything is all working correctly. At the end of the training portion of today's call, we'll open it up for Q&A. We will also let you know about some things that we're putting together if you would like to work with us, if we can be of help to you. Without further ado, everyone, let's welcome Mary. Give her a hi, give her a welcome, give her a clap, and
Hi.
we'll get rolling here.
Okay, awesome. Well, this training is for missionaries, ministry leaders, those of you who are people of faith. So I'm going to kick us off with prayer. Okay. So let's pray in today's call here and we'll go from there. So, Heavenly Father, God, thank you, Lord, for bringing these specific people for today to come in from all around the globe. God, you care about your people in every corner, every pocket of this world. And God, I just am so grateful for each one of them, for the people that they serve, for the people that they represent. We've got a lot of trainers and teachers who are on today's call as well, who are responsible for teaching missionaries and ministry leaders how to raise money. So God, I just pray that today's conversation would be glorifying to you, but also God, that you would just show us what we need to see and what we need to hear so that our missions can expand and that we can reach ultimately the vision that you've given to us. So today, God, we cannot do what we do without having you here. So please join us. Please guide and lead this conversation. Give me the words to share so that I can meet your people exactly where they're at. So we love you and we give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Okay, let's go. All right. So I hope you're here for how to get a fully funded budget, because that's why we're here. Okay. So we're going to talk about how to raise your full support, exactly how to raise support, how to do it in 7 steps. Okay. I want to share real quick that I have been a fundraiser for over 20 years. I've worked in organizations like the ALS Association, the American Cancer Society, and Special Olympics. I've raised millions and millions of dollars for these organizations, and over the last 10 years have been raising money well beyond that. People will often ask, like, how much money have you raised? And I was like, I can't even put a number on it because you all are doing your work. And I have helped about 1,000 nonprofits between Mike and I and the private coaching that I do on my own, have reached over 1,000 organizations, ministries who are doing this work. This is just a couple of pictures of Mike and I teaching at a workshop that we did a few years ago. Mike and I love to teach. This is what we do. My background, of course, is in fundraising. I do what you guys do. I knock on doors. I invite people to financially give. That is my calling. God gave it to me when I was very young. And so I just have always had a passion, and I've loved fundraising. It's my thing. And I know some of you are like, I hate it. It's not my thing. Why does God make me do it? And I think that's why he brought Mike and I here to you today to help you with this process. Mike is a public speaker, a coach, a trainer, a #1 Wall Street Journal bestseller. And about 8 years ago, God brought us together actually at a conference. And we jokingly say that we're peanut butter and jelly. Today, we're going to be talking about 7 steps, and then we're going to be talking about 7 other steps. So if you've been with us for a long time, you're like, okay, they're going to go over the same freedom steps that they've always gone over. That's not the story. This is a brand new training. We have never done this training before. The content in this training is brand new. So we're really thrilled to be able to share some of this new content with you guys. Before we jump into that, if you've ever thought that there's something missing in the way you've been taught to raise support, you're probably right. And I tell people often that if I was taught how to fundraise, and I just want to be kind, because I know that everybody's just doing their best, right? All of your sending agencies, all your sending organizations, the mentors that you have, the missionaries that have gone before you, they're all just doing their best. They didn't know what they didn't know. And so they just did what they could, and then they passed that along to you. And the thing is that it may have worked for them 10, 20, 30 years ago, but times have changed drastically. I mean, in the last year, we know that social media, AI, the whole thing, there has been so much that has changed. And everything about how we communicate with people and connect with them is just very different. We all know that you have a vision to impact the world for Christ, but you need the provision. We need the cash, okay? Like we need that money to make sure that we can travel, that we can go back and forth, that we can meet the needs of the people that we're called to serve. It's not because you're selfish. It's not because you're greedy. It's because it costs money to do ministry. And so that's why we're here. Mike and I are here to help you grow your donor base, raise more support, and get fully funded in today's modern world. I want to share a story with you real quick. So this is a picture of these guys are all missionaries. I went to a missionary conference. This was years ago. My book, Fundraising Freedom, had just come out. And the gentleman who's holding the book, his name is Stephen, young missionary. You can tell these guys are all in their 20s. Stephen was sitting in a room that I was training these freedom steps to. The very beginning, it was just a concept, and I was teaching it to some people at Chi Alpha Campus Ministries. He was sitting in the room, and after the meeting, he walked up to me and he just was like, "Hey, can you help me? I I don't know anyone. I don't know anyone who's fully funded." And I don't know about you guys, but hearing from somebody who's brand new on the mission field, who's been called to do this work, and to hear from him and him say, "I'm actually stepping into the leadership role of my ministry because the director ahead of me couldn't get fully funded. So he's leaving because he can't get fully funded. And now I'm going to step into this role, and that cannot be my story." And so he stopped and he was just like, "Can you coach me?" And I was like, okay, I've never done this before. And so Stephen was my first, and Stephen got fully funded. On the far right, if you can see the picture, there's a gentleman, his name is Charles. Stephen had mentored and discipled Charles. Charles mentored, discipled the gentleman who is off to my left here, and his name is Ozzy. The great thing is that Charles got to watch Stephen get fully funded. Ozzy got to watch Charles, got to watch Stephen get fully funded. After Stephen got fully funded, this was actually a text message that came to Stephen, and I felt like it was important to share with you because this is what is very common in the missionary space. He sent it to me because he was kind of, laughing a little bit about it because he knows this is not what he does. This is not how we train in fully funded, how to raise funds. But this is a text that he received, and it just said, "I wanted to reach out to you because I'm raising support to work for," and fill in the blank with the organization, "next year at, I'll be leading freshman girls full-time in missions, discipleship, Bible study, and leadership training. I have a specific amount to raise for one-time gifts. So I'm reaching out to lots of my friends to see if they would consider supporting me through a one-time gift. A gift as small as $5 is so helpful because it all adds up. Anyway, I would love for you to pray about donating so that I can raise it all and do ministry next year. Thank you." I want to share with you today why this strategy is not a good one. Okay. Put yourself in the shoes of the recipient. And the good thing about this is that this person was bold, right? They were being obedient to the fact that God has called them out to the mission field. And that is beautiful that they've been doing that. And they feel like, hey, let's just send out this blanket message and just see if anybody grabs hold of it. That would be awesome. But she has not vetted any of the people that she sent it to as far as like, hey, do they care about missions? Obviously, Stephen was a good one. He does care about missions, but he also is raising his own budget. And he also has those young people that are coming up the way that are all looking to get fully funded as well. So he's got a huge circle of people that are looking for funding. So for her to send this message to him was kind of like, ooh, is this the best person to send it to? But she was just like, hey, I got to get out of the mission field, and she's going to do whatever it takes to get there. Okay, so let me teach you our freedom framework. And I'm also going to teach you guys today our 7-step donor progression. All right, let's run through the freedom framework. So here are those 7 steps that spell out the word freedom. Okay, the word freedom means to act, think, and speak without holding back. Who wants a little act, speak, and think without holding back? Like, God, you send me. You, whatever you want. If I'm supposed to go here, I go there. If you want this person to support us, you send us there. If we're supposed to share this message, if we're supposed to preach at that church, if we're supposed to, like, God, you send us. Who doesn't want that sense of freedom in your ministry? So focused your vision is all about having clarity. So in the chat, share with us, how much are you trying to raise? And, Here's what I'm going to challenge you with today. This isn't a survival number. This isn't a survival number. This isn't the number that's like, I'm going to put food on the table with this number. This is we can actually execute the vision and mission that God has placed on our heart. This is what I'm talking about. Look at these numbers, friends. 150,000, 200,000, 120,000, $10,000 a month, 120,000 a year, right? $1 million. Okay, yeah, big vision, 2 million, foundational sustainability, 7,000 a month, 10,000 a month. Yes. So you can see here, God-sized vision. This is like when you put a destination into your GPS, right? If I'm going to go from St. Louis, Missouri to Minneapolis, Minnesota to go visit my family, I'm going to put my mom's address into that GPS system, and I know her exact address, and I'm going to type it in, and that app is going to give me the exact directions to get to her home. And this is what these numbers are all about. It's about making sure that you have a GPS in the system so that you know where you're going. For many of you guys, you focus in on like whatever whatever you want to give me, like that message that girl had sent. $5 a month will help. No, it won't. No, I mean, we'll take $5, right? But $5 is not going to get you to $500,000. And every dollar matters. But with a $500,000 budget, we need to see $50,000 gifts coming in. With $1 million budget, we need to see $100,000 gifts coming in. You got a $6,000 a month budget. I need to see $600 a month coming in. And if you can see my math on this, I'm saying 10%. Most people are willing to give up to 10% of your full budget without feeling like they're carrying the weight of your ministry budget. And for some of you, that makes you nervous because you're like, oh my gosh, if somebody gave me $6,000 and then they don't give it to me the next year, I've depended on it. And it's like, let's just let that go. Okay. Let God bless you with big chunks of money. Get the number locked down on what it is that you're trying to, like, what's the GPS? What's the number we're trying to get to? And I want you to take some time in the next week and really pray over this number. Okay. If you've been sitting on like $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month, and you've been telling people that number, but you know in your heart that that's not enough to keep this ministry thriving, you got to go to work and get those numbers nailed down. Okay. So go to the Lord, go to Him in prayer, ask for a vision, ask for clarity on what those numbers are so that you can actually tell your donors what you want them to give. Somebody asked me recently, they're like, their budget was $250,000. And they're like, should we be telling people we need $250,000? And I'm like, yes. How can they give you $25,000? How can they give you $50,000 if you don't share those numbers? So we got to be bold, and we got to make sure that we feel confident and take a minute and actually address the fact that you don't need this money to pay your bills. You need this money to execute the vision. It just so happens that you're the one that's leading this ministry. You're the one that's leading whatever the mission is that you've been called to lead, and the rest will follow. Okay, so let's run through these. So run your research. The next thing is we're going to be looking at what other people are doing. I'm going to challenge you today and say, please stop looking at your underfunded missionary friends. Today, we're going to make a shift, and we're going to start looking at our fully funded friends. Okay, who is fully funded? Who is out there that actually has raised their 100% of their budget and who are not living in poverty? We serve a God who owns everything. Let's stop focusing our eyes on the people who are living in scarcity and poverty. We need to focus on the people who are doing it well. This is why we created Fully Funded. We needed to create an environment where you guys actually heard testimonies from people who got fully funded and who are doing it every single day. They're living out the mission. This is why we had a conversation on our academy recently with Nora McNamara, who's in the chat here, chatting with you guys. And she was willing to let us share her story on our YouTube channel because she had to start researching and start finding people who were fully funded so that she could actually believe that it was possible. This is why Stephen needed to have a conversation with me, because he's like, I've never seen anyone get fully funded. I need that. Enlist your team is probably one of the most crucial components of this. No one should be raising their money by themselves. Okay. If you are raising your budget on your own, that has got to change. You need people to come alongside you. You got to bring 3 to 5 people around you, and that's just to get started, and then we walk you through the rest of that. Enhance your brand is all about getting your just a nice headshot, getting a one-pager. I'm gonna share with a little bit about that some more on today's call. But branding and branding doesn't have to be like, a ton of stuff. This is your brand, okay? This is your brand. This is my brand, Mike's brand. You can see his face. This is our brand. You are all personal brands. Your family, you and your spouse, you as an individual, you are your brand. This is why Mike wrote the book. You are the brand. So, and then the next part is deploy your team. This is sending people out on your behalf. This is all those people who can say great things about you, and they're able to say, you know what? You guys need to support Sarah. She's amazing. We support her. You should support her. And here's what the statistics say. You're 2/3 more likely to give to a missionary that someone introduced you to. So you guys are working really, really hard to try and promote yourself. And this is why it feels icky. This is why it feels uncomfortable, is because it's not effective. It doesn't work. You have to invite people into your team and you have to deploy them. Let them go say nice things about you. If you've ever sat in front of a church and the pastor said nice things about you and said, hey guys, we believe in their mission. We want to support them. Dig into your pocketbooks right now. We're taking up a love offering for them. That's what that is all about, is making sure that those people are advocating on your behalf so that you don't have to say nice things about yourself. Jesus didn't have to say nice things about himself. Everybody else did that for him. So let's use him as a model. Okay, organize your ask is literally just getting ready and prepared to ask for funds. This is why that message that I showed you just a little bit ago is not effective. It's because she didn't organize nothing. She was feeling very insecure about, oh my gosh, I've got to raise this money. I got to send out these messages. And she just vomited a message on people. There was no organization in that. And so we're going to teach you how to do that. And then the last part is make your difference. So after we make the ask, we're going to obviously receive the funds. You're going to get fully funded. And I'm believing with you guys today that there's no reason why other people are fully funded and you're not. So we're going to say after step 6 here, organize your ask, you're fully funded. You're going to take all that money and you're going to go make a difference, right? You are going to go make your difference in the world and you're going to thank people. You're going to honor them. You're going to bring them along on the journey with you. And you're going to tell them all the great things that the Lord is doing because of their generosity and because they joined your team. Okay, you can see why this method is so effective. You can see they each layer on top of each other. It's not meant to be many of you have done something in every one of these categories. I know you have. All of you have probably made an ask. All of you have probably invited somebody to say something nice about you. You may have a headshot picture. So you've done the branding, but it's all hodgepodge and it feels very disorganized and there's no place to coordinate it, to categorize it in your head. These 7 steps are set up so that you can say, okay, take a deep breath. Let's kick everything out of this messy closet in our head and start kicking it, getting it out of here. And let's just start here with what is the vision that God has given to me? And then we're going to start to bring in some of these other layers. But when somebody says, have you called on so-and-so? You can immediately say, you know what? That's step 6 of the process. No, I haven't, but I have my team and so-and-so is connected to that person. So let's go grab this team member who can open up the door to that person. And you know where it fits in the whole scheme of how to raise support. Okay, now what I want to teach you guys is how do we actually execute this? What this is literally the progression that every single donor is going to go through to say yes to your mission. I would say the number one reason why you are underfunded, why you are at 40, 50, 60% of your funding, some of you are at 20%, some of you are at 80, but for the most part, you're probably sitting in that 60, 70% funded. The reason why many of you would say that you are underfunded is because you just don't know enough people. There's just not enough people saying yes. And so we need to know more people. And you are one person and you can only hang out with so many people. And you have to hang out with the people that your mission serves. So your time is extremely, extremely limited on making new friends. But the challenge is that we need to get people to know, like, and trust you so that they can start to engage with your ministry. They can start to try out your ministry. Then they make a first gift to the work that you're doing. Then they become repeat donors where they're giving monthly and they're giving more consistently. They're giving every year, they're giving every month. And then there's the referral process. And the referral process is not the used car salesman referral. We are not saying, hey, do you have a friend who would be interested in our organization? We're going to end that kind of talk. Okay. This is not, you're not a used car salesman. Jesus does not need you to sell his mission. He needs you to be authentically who God created you to be. In the last few calls that we've had in our in our academy, Mike has been drilling on this so hard. Double down on who you are. Okay. You don't have to be anybody but who God created you to be. Okay. Do you hear me today? You do not have to be a slick salesman. You don't have to be super outgoing. If you're an introverted, quiet, nerdy, whatever kind of person, this is totally okay. It's how God created you. Why would it be wrong? What we're teaching you is double down on who God created you to be. Because guess what? There's a whole group of people who are also nerdy and introverted and quiet and whatever it is that you are that is going to match you. They're going to meet you where you're at. And they also want to give to God's work. Okay, so we're not trying to be outgoing and be extroverted and be this dynamic salesperson so that we can attract more salesperson kind of people. We want to meet all people. We want to invite all people into ministry work. So I'm going to walk you through this. So know, like, trust, try, give, repeat, refer. Let's real quick start off so that you understand this. I want to use something that's very simple. I like to use my cell phone because I think we all have cell phones at this point. When you bought your cell phone, you knew the company, you liked the company, you trusted the company. You tried it out. This is an iPhone. You tried it out somewhere along the line. I was one of those early adopters, 2007. I remember it was like my dad actually called it the Antichrist. Thought it was like, oh, this is the end of everything, right? But the phone, right, like the iPhone became something that you started to try. Other people got it, and then you're like, oh, I want to play with it. Then in the business world, you would say that you bought it. So you gave to it. You bought that product. Then I bought another one. This is like I don't even know. I've been through so many iterations of this phone, right? I've become a repeat purchaser. And here I am talking to you guys about my phone, and I'm referring you all to go buy your phone, right? So, and it was like, I remember in 2007, all my coworkers were coming to my office and they were coming to see my phone, and they were all like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. And then they were all saying, you need to get one. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. You need to get one. And then that's how the thing took off, right? That's how Apple is what Apple is today. So this is the same kind of journey that you go on with everything you purchase, your car, your home, the food in your grocery cart, every single thing that we do. This is the same progression. We're just doing it from a donor perspective. So the first part of this know, like, trust. The question that I want you to ask yourself in this is, how are people hearing about your ministry? How do they even know that you exist? How are people hearing about your ministry right now? Is it a friend introducing you, a friend of a friend? Are you speaking at church? Are you writing a newsletter? Are you doing a podcast? Are you sharing things on a blog, emails, newsletter? And some of you are here because you saw a video of Mike and I, and you didn't know us. There were so many yeses that people did not know Mike and I. And so you found us on the internet. You found us on a video. You found us on YouTube. So what I want you to do is just take a few minutes just to jot down these same things, like, how can people hear more about you? And I want to lean a little bit heavy on the introduction from advisory group member, friend, family member, or church leader, because those are the initial ways that we start off. A lot of times it's like, I don't know very many people. So what we have to do is we have to start with that inner circle. Who are the people that are saying, wow, I'm so excited for you. Like, you absolutely are called into this. God needs you on the mission field. Who are those people who are saying those things to you? And let's start having some conversations with them, not asking them for money, asking them if they would come alongside you and help you, like, just spread your message. Maybe they're willing to share some of the stories that you share. And I have on here storytelling. A lot of times people find out about you because you shared a story and somebody else like brought that. I mean, this is tradition, right? This is how Jesus's story got told. You know, it was just handed down. People continue to share these stories. So what stories are you telling that other people can repeat? Okay. All right. So that's the first step. If people don't know you exist, they cannot give to you. And I feel like so many of you are like, we have the greatest mission ever. We are saving lives. We are transforming people. We're feeding the hungry, clothing the poor. We're like absolutely transforming communities for the Lord, but nobody knows we're doing it. We're the best kept secret. And we got to stop that. Okay. All right. So, know, like, trust. That's the first part of this. Then we're going to move on to this step 4. And now we're getting into the try. This is where a lot of people, especially if you're in a closed nation or you are located in a foreign country and you're trying to raise funds in a different country. We got a lot of people who are raising money in the UK, raising money in the US, but they're international. It doesn't really matter where you're raising your money and what country that is. The challenge that many people find is that I'm like, how do I get them to try or test drive our ministry? So it's like, just like when you go to Costco and they have all the samples out, and we use the Jimmy Dean sausage example. Like, how am I going to try Jimmy Dean sausage to know that I need to buy some Jimmy Dean sausage, right? And that's what you need to be thinking about. How do people test drive? How do they get a taste of our ministry? And the best way that people can get a taste of your ministry is actually through your emails, through those newsletters. And I'm going to challenge you on the newsletter that we are in a season, and why we were saying in today's modern world, newsletters are great, but we are moving so much faster than a newsletter. And so many of our students are sending their emails every 2 weeks. And like I would say our 8++ students are sending emails out every single week. And I know for some of you that like seems, oh my gosh, I don't even talk to my donor base, but like maybe like every quarter, maybe 4 times a year, maybe 2 times a year, or even once a year. Like when I go on furlough and I show up at their church, that's like the only time I actually talk to them. That has to change in today's modern world. Okay. Technology is available to every single one of us. And I know some of you are in locations where technology is not great, but you're all here. Okay. You all use technology to get here. So you know enough about technology to do this. So we've got to start looking at how do we communicate more often. And Mike often says, we are not sending out emails that are boring. We are not sending out the wall of text. We're not sending out all this information that people do not care about, do not want information about. It's things that are going to fill their tank, that are going to serve them. And this is as easy as just take a few moments to sit and think about one thing that happened in the last week. And it doesn't have to be profound. Maybe one of your team members said something to you that just gave you this aha moment. Or maybe you were teaching on a lesson and something shook in you by a comment that was made by somebody in the room. It doesn't have to be the former newsletter, the way that you've always taught things, okay? But you can see the different examples: social media, private Facebook group, videos, a walkthrough of your ministry, if you have the opportunity to do that. For some of you, you're in college ministry, people have small groups that they're meeting with. It's easy to have somebody come and sit in the back room of that Bible study or of that worship service. For those of you who are working internationally, they can't try it. I'm going to lean on that email list. Okay. I'm going to lean on social media. If your people, like your general donor base, are sitting within 10 miles of you, I'm still using email. These people are still very busy. Okay. Text messages, emails, phone messages. Step 5, how can a prospect give their first gift? Now we're talking about how they can give their first gift. We got to make sure that we have to make an ask. You know, somewhere along the line, somebody has to say, will you give to us? So you've got to somewhere communicate that message. There's got to be some sort of call to action somewhere. The support letter, we have templates inside of our program that teach that, but the support letter is a great one for people to use. Those informational meetings, prayer gatherings, vision casting events, fundraising events. Once again, these do not have to be in person. They can be done virtually. You can do it on Zoom right here. We have 124 people here right now. That's a pretty great event, if I don't say so myself, right? We've got a great event. You can have hundreds and hundreds of people join you in a gathering where they get to have an invitation to be a part of what you're doing. You can do fundraising events online and by video totally doable. So, and the question we're asking is just how does a prospect give their first gift? All right. Then step 6 is how can a prospect give ongoing monthly annual gifts, right? Like this is how we get sustainability, ongoing monthly donations. We got to make sure that we invite them to increase or to start giving monthly. But did you see in the previous one, 5, their first gift? We've got to get people to give their first gift. And so many of you are so anxious to get out on the mission field as quickly as possible, which I don't blame you. Yes, let's go get on the mission field. God has called you to go do that. But you are not allowing somebody the ability to just test your ministry and to try it out with that first gift. So let's start by giving them the opportunity to make any gift. Join us, be a part of what we're doing. If you want to give a one-time gift, a special gift, an annual gift, great. We would love that. Once again, do the math. It's not hard. Divide it out between 12 months. Make it happen. Okay. All right. So that's the step 6 there is just getting them to move towards ongoing monthly and annual gifts. The great thing about what you guys are doing is that many of you have come out of the church. So a lot of the people that you're talking to, they understand tithing, they understand monthly donations. For any of you who are talking to people who are outside of the church, okay, these are people that are not tithers. They're not people who are giving monthly to their church. I would assume many of you have people like this. They want to give to missions. They actually don't want to give to the church. And I know you want to be the good person who says, give to your church first and then us. But sometimes people look at you as their church and they want to tithe to you. And that is not your job to judge why they're giving or how they're giving or whatever. You are there to say, we love the fact that you want to support our mission and we're going to receive that because God called you to do that. Let's not get into philosophical or theological stuff and let's receive that gift and say, we love that you want to be a part of us and a part of our mission. But many times people are giving their tithe to the church and then they're giving their offering to you, but they understand monthly giving. Those people who are outside of the church, they don't always understand tithing. They want to give a lump sum to you and just say, what do you need? Do you need a car? What is it that you need to do? You need to go buy some Bibles? Just tell us what you need and be ready with those numbers so that you can respond to that. So that's 6. And then the final step of this progression, this is the donor progression that we're taking you through, is we're going to tell them how they can invite other people to give to the mission. We're going to provide helpful resources. And I'm going to share an example of that. We're going to provide helpful resources to them. We're going to organize a meeting to brainstorm ways to share your ministry. We're going to ask their advice and we're going to give leadership and volunteer roles so that they can get plugged in. We've got our advisory group, lots of ways for them to do that. Okay. All right. So I want you to see this. This is actually, we have this in an Excel document where you can go in and make edits. For those of you who are already students of Fully Funded Academy, this resource is already in our resources and templates section. You have access to it. But I want you to be able to go through and actually have this filled out so that you have a plan. How are we going to get more people to know us, like us, trust us, try, give, repeat, refer? And then I want you to show you, this is an example of a one-pager. This is the tool that we teach inside of Fully Funded Academy. So you only need one sheet of paper. It's so easy to be like, I need the prayer card and I need the magnet that goes on their fridge and I need this and I need that. And all I'm telling you is you need one sheet of paper. Okay, friends, you need one sheet of paper. And this is a strategically laid out one pager. This is my friend Emily Hauser. She raised $1 million on this sheet of paper. It gives people an opportunity to hear more about what she's doing. That's this first section. The middle section is how does she actually, why she needs help, why she needs other people to say yes. And then this final section is about, yes, I want to support you. I'm telling you, in today's modern world, no one is completing this form. Okay. So I just want to be really clear. But 99.9% of the people that you're going to hand this to, no one's taking out a pen and filling out this form and handing it to you. The reason why this is written on here and the reason why it's like this, and yes, we have plenty of options with QR codes, by the way. The QR code is the updated version of this. But this is where it gives somebody an opportunity to start to say, do I want to be a part of this financially? And when you hand this or somebody else hands this document to somebody else, it says, hey, you need to support Emily. You need to be a part of what they're doing. And it makes them start thinking about, ooh, should I give? Versus them saying, wow, you guys are doing great work. Keep up the good work. Okay, so this is another example. And P.S., I meant to get this one that had the QR code on it, but this is James and Kim Boley. They are on the mission field right now, raising their support. They just raised over $300,000. They got a brand new ministry building donated to them. They've been working our plan, sending out emails every single week. They're the pastors that receive their emails walk up to them at their meetings and recite the stories that they share. They go up in front of congregations and tell their stories because they're receiving those stories in their inbox. This is an example of how you get people to serve as volunteers. I'm just going to give you a glance at this. It's something that we teach, but it allows people to actually join a council, an advisory group, and an advocacy group to start sharing the message of your story with other people. Okay. And then this is part of the template that we have available. I want to get you guys, I want to encourage you to step away from this. How many phone calls did I make? How many of you would love to stop tracking how many phone calls you made to people that don't want a phone call from you? How many of you would love to get over that? This is the template that I want to show you, that it's instead of moving people through a process of, I got a meeting with them, I got a phone call with them, I bothered them, I sent them a text, I sent them a DM on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. And instead, you're moving them through this progression. Do they know us? Okay, I put their name on this list, and do they know us? They don't know us. So I don't have it checked off over here on the right-hand side. But I'm Tim. Tim's the contact. I'm talking to John Smith, and he works for Apple. And here's his address, and here's the notes for that story. And this is just an Excel document to just track these people. And when God drops a name in your heart, you put their name on the list, but we're not going to go stalk them. We're not going to go send them a message. We're going to put their name on a list, and then we're going to wait for the Lord to present somebody who says, okay, John says, hey, have you ever talked to Susan? You know, Susan's amazing. And then I put Susan's name on the list, and I put John as the contact. Okay. And now we're starting to expand our list, and it's not about you making the ask all the time. It's not about you trying to share your story. It's about you getting the story out so that more people can find you and give to you. Okay. All right. So let me give you a couple testimonials, and then I'm going to hand it over to Mike, but I want to give you some testimonials from within the last few months. So this is a message that we received, and she just shared. So I got off the call today and sent an email with our end of year financial review and our current month's newsletter. A prior donor reached out and said he received it and he'd like to give the $12,000 we need to expand our church and do the renovation. He read it on our newsletter as a prayer point for next year. The newsletter was like a support letter that we gave them the template for using, okay? We would have spent all of next year raising this. They would have spent all of 2025 trying to raise this $12,000, and they did it with our year-end campaign. This is amazing. I used the template for my email. Thank you so much for this program. I'm so encouraged. Okay, who wants that story? Right? You don't want to spend the next year raising $12,000, right? Here's one that came from somebody just last month, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this. So she just wrote, "Hi everyone, recently arrived back in Uganda with my husband after spending 5 weeks in England. Thanks to those of you who gave help. She posted some stuff in our Facebook group, and people gave feedback on how she could do a better job at speaking at that church. What should she ask for? What should her presentation be like? And she ended up sharing about their nonprofit work at 5 different churches, which is great. Did a lot of traveling, caught up with friends and family. And then she said, usually my husband does the preaching and teaching, and I share about the nonprofit work. This time, we increased our network of support, especially in terms of forming relationships with additional churches. And we had extra signups to the mailing list and an increase in one-off donations. You can see those extra names on the mailing list turns into new relationships. It starts to move them from know, like, trust into try, give, repeat, refer. That's what we want to see happen. And then at the end of her message that she wrote, she's like, here's my honest evaluation. I had to put Fully Funded Academy into practice right away. She had to leave perfectionism behind, run with some imperfect action, and just get the job done. She got her vision and her mission statements done. She had clarity. She had a specific goal for 2025, and which was super helpful. It was a start, right? And then she says, although the new approach to sharing vision felt rather like a new pair of shoes, which I haven't yet worn, it also gave me confidence. It sounded like we actually have a plan. And then she said, people actually remarked about how she had more confidence when she spoke. Who doesn't want that, right? So for a reluctant public speaker, that's really helpful to know. And then, of course, she said she's loving the training and the live calls that we have. She even said she hasn't managed to keep up with all of it, and that's totally okay, but she's executed what she could. So she said, having just spent 5 weeks in England, things are getting done, but not as fast or the right order. But this isn't a race, it's a process. One last one, major praise and next steps question. This person just shared, after 18 months, I finally got fully funded. Now, this person hasn't been in fully funded for 18 months. She joined after not getting fully funded, but at 18 months, finally, she got fully funded. And she just said, I'm just floored to see time and time again that God's economy truly works differently than the world's, and that there are people out there who also believe that and they want to invest in it. So anyways, shout out to them. I just want to highlight this, and then I'm going to pass this over to Mike. But I just want you to see, you don't have to be the story of Stephen's supervisor, like the guy that was ahead of him. You want to be the person who has fresh eyes, like, hey, I'm willing to try new things. I'm going to try technology. I'm going to send out emails more frequently. I'm going to actually jump on social media. It feels a little awkward and weird, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to share these stories because God wants me to share these stories. And I hope that you can see how effective that is. So, and all of that, I'm going to pass this over to Mike, who's going to share with you guys some more. But I hope that this training is just helpful for you guys as you're walking through this process. Sorry, Mike, I went a little long. I hope it's okay for you guys.
All good. All right, let's give Mary a big thank you, everybody. Type TY in the chat if you wouldn't mind. Hey, we're an encouraging group here. I just want to see if you guys are okay if I spend 10 minutes going over a very special and new way we might be able to support you. So I just want to see if that's cool with you. If you want to bounce and you're like, I got what I need, see you later, that's totally fine. We're not offended. Just do what you need to do. So is that all right? Give me a yes if you guys are cool with that. All right. Awesome. So this is brand new. Here's one of the things that we want to do. We're calling it the Fully Funded Accelerator. And this is to help you get your support materials ready, particularly for the summer season, all in just 6 weeks. Mary touched on this a little bit in terms of the one pager. Some of you asked in the chat about the one pager. And some of the other support raising materials. So we're going to start on Monday, May 5th. That's in about a week and a half. And we're going to do 90-minute sessions every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern for 6 straight weeks. This is for you if you have upcoming summer furloughs or you have some in-person meetings over the next 90 days and you need to get rolling on it. Okay. If you need to create or update your support materials fast, if you feel unprepared or unclear on what to say and share, and if you want focused coaching and accountability to get it done. And here are the deliverables. You're going to get your refined one pager and a clear team overview document. That team overview document Mary talked about in those steps where we're enlisting people to help us to get on board with us. You want to have your support ask dialed in. We'll work personally with you to make sure that you're saying what you need to say, focusing on the important things about communicating what you need to communicate. We'll, of course, do live reviews and you'll have expert coaching each week. More importantly, you'll have a real deadline and the momentum to meet it. And this is good as a done for now foundation that you can use immediately. Okay, so I just want to pause here for a second and make sure that this is really clear for everyone to understand. And the investment for this is $397. That's the investment that we're asking you to make. It's a one-time payment for the full 6-week experience. So for those of you who want to get things moving quickly, this is for you. No upsells, no fluff, just focused coaching to get your support materials done really fast. Okay, that's one way that we can help you. The second is our full-blown, fully funded academy coaching program. Mary's made mention of this several times. It's designed to help you grow your donor base, raise more money, get fully funded. Your enrollment gives you access to our fully funded curriculum. You get a ton of email and support letter templates. You get bonus in-depth masterclasses, for example, how to write a winning support letter or how to host a fundraising event, live coaching calls 2 times a month. And All of this is for you to serve as a year-long roadmap to sustainable recurring support. You're going to get online coaching, ongoing coaching, community access. We have many of our members who are here with us. Our full curriculum that Mary's mentioned a couple of times to help you build long-term support. You get 2 times a month support calls and our private community where we've been sharing these testimonies from today. Live workshops, replays, trainings that you can return to at any time. You get all the step-by-step guidance to build confidence and consistency in your fundraising. Our next call is going to be Wednesday, May 14th. These calls go 60 minutes every second and fourth Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay. And so all of this is really designed to help you create sustainable recurring support. The investment for this is also $397 one time for the year. Or if that's too much of a chunk of change, you can do $37 a month for a 12-month commitment. And this is a fraction of what most missionaries raise, right? So it's just a couple bucks. We actually also have templates that our own students have sent out to their supporters and said, can you pay for my training? Bob, thank you for the kind words. He said, the best materials ever. This helped me get fully funded after being underfunded for over 3 decades. First of all, can we just celebrate
Wow.
Bob? Can we just say, yay, Bob? I didn't even know he was going to say that. He was not paid or asked to say that. Let's get some good energy here in the room and just encourage one another. That's amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing. So this is really, we have 2 real, hopefully viable options for you all. So this is what it looks like as a breakdown, what I just shared. You have 2 paths forward. You're welcome to join us in either one, the 6-week Accelerator. Why? Because you have upcoming meetings or you need to update your support materials fast. What? Live weekly working sessions, accountability, and feedback. When we start May 5th for 6 straight weeks, 3 p.m. Eastern, the investment is $397 one time. And if you want to just join us in the Academy, long-term sustainable support systems, full curriculum access, 2 times a month support calls, access to our vault. Our next call is on Wednesday, May 14th, and we meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. And that's $397 one time or $37 a month for the 12-month commitment. I have all the links right here. And we will, of course, email these out to you. I want to close here over the next minute or two about asking you what the real cost is of not being intentional and really not putting yourself in a position where you're going to get these things done. Knowledge is great, but it's implementation that really moves the ball down the field. And we've seen so many missionaries over the years, they've drained hours trying to figure out what to say or what to write. And they've drained hours trying to create a perfect pitch deck or write their support letters. And they end up really frustrated because they're trying to come up with these strategies to grow their donor base, raise more support, all on their own. They're frustrated because all they do is contact the people they already know, and they're just asking them for more support over and over and over again. And it feels like they're burning relational bridges. Then they end up burned up and dried up, and they come to us and say, support is drying up. So we do not ultimately want you to be in the same place next year. We want you to be in a different place because you have developed these skills. So what we're asking and we're proposing is that you invest those frustrating hours with us instead. We will guide you through all of these strategies step by step and more. A lot of the missionaries that we see and meet, their support raising looks good for a while until this happens. A storm hits. And we all know this parable, a house built on sand. And all it takes is one thing, one donor to drop their support, one person in their family or their team getting sick, one particular tragedy or broken pipe in the building that they're building. It just, most of the missionaries we worked with and their ministries are just one moderately unfortunate event happening from things crumbling down. And we don't believe that you should be in a place like this. We don't believe God wants you to be in a place like this. We want to see you like this. You are like what Psalms describes, a tree planted by streams of living water. You're deeply rooted. You're bearing fruit. There is abundance and there is life. And you're where you are, wherever God has planted you. And you are really in a great place. And we know that we can help you with this. We don't just believe. We don't hope. We know. We've done this for 8 years. So what we want to encourage you to do is to really open your heart and open your mind as to what could be possible. And we just want to invite you. We just want to invite you to consider working with us. And I'm going to, as a friend and a brother in Christ, I'm going to challenge you. Because if this was just a good idea and a convenient thing for us to do, then just keep on going with whatever you've been doing. It's optional. But for Mary and I, this is not optional. We know that there are people, there are souls hanging in the balance because they need you. That's our prayer. That's our passion. That's our challenge. And that's our heart.
Yeah, so good. Hey, can I just say real quick, Mike, like if you can't hear his heart behind all that, even before I jumped on this call, I don't know, the Lord was like, impressing on me that it's like so many of you, you are so passionate about your calling. There's no doubt about it, right? Like every single one of you is called into the work that you're being called into. And I know some of you have years and decades of being underfunded and feeling like there's no way out, that you have tried everything. And what we want you to see is that you can surround yourself with people who actually are fully funded. I mean, Bob said it, Nora said it. We've got Lydia, Nicole, and I mean, we've got so many people that are still in our program. They're fully funded. They could have left. Like many people have said, hey, I got fully funded and they left. And that's great. Go get your money and leave. But there's a lot of people who have stayed because they also know that a storm could come at any moment and they have to continue to do what is current, what's happening in today's modern world. P.S. I've been fundraising for over 2 decades. I was telling Mike before we jumped on the call today that I was like, when I started my fundraising, we used fax machines. Okay, we used fax machines. We recruited volunteers on through newspapers. And I was weeding through the yellow pages to try and find contacts and phone numbers. We don't do that anymore. And times are always changing. 5 years ago, when we went through the pandemic inside of Fully Funded Academy, Mike wrote specific support letters for the pandemic. We could never have anticipated that that was going to come. So Fully Funded for us is like current, modern, like we are shifting by the day. This Accelerator course is like, hey, we hear you. We hear what you guys are saying. Like, you got to get out in the mission field fast. You don't have a year to sit around and do this. We're responding to that. So that's what this is about, is just meeting you guys exactly where you're at. So anyways, I just wanted to highlight that. We love you. Like, I hope you can hear our hearts for this, is that we love you and we want to support you wherever you're at and whatever part of the world, whatever, situation that you're in, there's a way out, is all we got to say. Thank you for taking this time. You guys have busy schedules and you got things going on. We need each other. Stop doing this alone. Do not be the Lone Ranger. Jesus never did it by himself. You shouldn't either. Let's make a shift, okay?